The NBA playoffs, and the Knicks blew it. The Knicks really, really blew it. They had the lead and they lost game 5. And I tell you, I thought the Knicks were going to win in a close game, a game 5. They did not. And congratulations to Philly for winning 112 to 106. And this was a game that Philly took an early lead. The Knicks came back. It was back and forth. Uh, and then Maxey just started hitting shots. And Maxey didn't hit shots at all in Philadelphia. He drove to the basket, but he wasn't hitting those outside shots. This game, Tyrell Maxey was fantastic. 46 points, 7 of 12 from 3. Hit some big 3-pointers, 1 4-point play, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. Brunson was good, 40 points. It was about point cards, and Maxey was better. And the plays of the game were toward the end of the fourth quarter, which really the Knicks are going to rue the day. With 28 seconds, this game got away. Now, Sixers blew game 2. So this is an even matchup. And Brunson got fouled a couple times. They didn't call it. Maxey got fouled in game 2 a couple times. They didn't call it. Oh, well, things happen. So the bad calls even out. But with 28 seconds left, Maxey, and this was stupid on Mitchell Robinson. I'm thinking, give up the 2. There's a 4-point game, let him drive, takes time on the clock. He catches the ball with little time off the clock, hits a 3 and the foul. Stupid foul. It was just poorly played by the Knicks. Now the whole vibe of the game changed. Now Sixers are in the game. Maxey hits the free throw, 1-point game. Shots, no, 2-point game. So Josh Hart misses a key free throw. And then Maxey comes down court and hits a long 40-foot 3-point shot, tie the game. Knicks don't get a good shot to end. Brunson throws up a prayer, doesn't get answered. And then it goes overtime, and the Knicks take over into overtime. I said, oh, okay, the Knicks let's see if they weather the storm. They weathered the storm. And when it was 102-97, this was the key. And this was the biggest. A 15-4 run to end the game. And it was just Maxey taking over. Embiid hits a couple of free throws that was big to stabilize them. But then Maxey finds Oubre on a dunk. The Knicks don't get a good shot off. They're so obsessed because Maxey's destroying them so bad that they almost look like they triple team Maxey, left Oubre open. Oubre had a good game. Good defensively, hit some big time layups. That was a big time layup, give him the lead for good. And then Embiid hits the free throw. They're up 4-1. Flagrant foul. Thought the Sixers were going to come back. The game was tied. Oubre gets a layup by Batum. Once again, overplaying Maxey, but you had to. He was killing you so bad he terrorized you. And but was a key was no. Let me do this. Let me do this right. There's a minute 14 left. And it's back and forth. And Knicks get a turnover by Embiid, and they turn the ball right back over. And Oubre was wide open for a layup. That was huge. That was the play. Those are the kind of plays the Sixers were making. But lo and behold, the Knicks were doing the same thing that the Sixers were doing in game 3, in game 4, in game 2 and 1. And then Tobias Harris hit some free throws after missed by Brunson. Brunson had a bad turnover because Batum played him to his left, forced him to take a jump shot. He is going to block the jump shot. So at the last minute, Brunson throws the ball away. It hangs in midair, throws it away. And then the Sixers finish out the game. And that's huge. The Knicks are in trouble. Let me tell you why they're in trouble. This is a game you had them closed out. Sometimes when you have a team closed out, you don't ever get that chance again to close them out. I remember 94 Phoenix and Houston. close out twice them to close out, especially 95. Home up 3-1, close out game. Barkley misses 2 free throws. Horry hits a 3-point shot, ties the game, goes overtime. Houston wins, and then comes back for their improbable comeback. This almost feels like that. Hate to put an omen on Knicks fans, but now the Sixers are going to annihilate the Knicks in Game 6. Game 7's a toss-up. I'll be scared about Game 7 because you got a road warrior in Maxey that is so good on the road. He loves the garden rims because he shoots better in the garden. I mean, he's 7 to 12, over 50% shooting from 3 in this game. And Embiid, what if Embiid is just healthy enough to be a pain in the neck to go inside and get you in trouble? Because I think the Sixers finding Oubre, finding that third guy helps. That's huge. Now, Tobias Harris gives him something. He hits a couple of shots. And so what if he dusts off what if he plays the others and how do I forget my guy's name? Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield. He does Buddy Hield law. And also Buddy Hield his shots. He might not happen, but you kind of had the Sixers on the ropes and you let them off the hook. And they're a veteran team. They're not scared to go to guard. They're not scared of the crowd. This is some scary stuff taking place for the Knicks. But the Knicks have to have Vincenzo shoot better. Deuce didn't shoot it good at all tonight. They're not going to beat the Sixers, but coming back to the Garden, they're going to have a great effort. They're going to have the others play off the Garden crowd and try to pull out a game that's going to be close. That Garden crowd's going to be loud, but they're going to be nervous in Game 7 because now the pressure's all pressure on the Knicks. They'll be pressure on them in Game 6. I think the Sixers come out and wax them. Then in Game 7, it's a toss-up. And in the fourth quarter, the game will be tight, maybe 2-point game, Sixers way, 2-point game Knicks way. There's going to be so much pressure. And this is where Vincenzo and Hart and Brunson have to just get this series home and get it on to the next round. But this was a tough loss by the Knicks. But this is an even series. The Sixers blew Game 2, the Knicks blew Game 5, almost similar. Knicks 6-point lead, threw away dumb fouls, turnovers. Sixers 8-point lead, dumb fouls, turnovers. So it's an evenly matchup. And now the Sixers will beat up on the Knicks, and then we're gonna have an all a big kind of legacy game for Embiid because again how bad Game 7 ended in Boston. Now you're giving the Sixers a chance, Embiid a chance at redemption. As hurt as he is, he's gonna be like, I was horrible Game 7 against the Celtics. If I get to Game 7 now on the road, I will change up. That is the most scary prospect for the Knicks. That you give a team with experience in losing to the Celtics last year in Game 7 a chance for redemption after coming off the mat. Very dangerous times for the Knicks. Now, before I get into the Western Conference, the Knicks fans, you got a little cocky with the FNB. Now, you got to go back to Philadelphia. And you're going to try to do that and have the New York crowd once again try to take over. Maybe I don't think they're going to do it this time. That's why I picked the Sixers to just annihilate them. And the Sixer crowd is going to be very, very, very excited for that game. And you're not going to do FNB. You're not going to hear that nonsense. And then Embiid has a chance at revenge. To really, you better hope he don't win Game 7 because he will rub it into the Knicks crowd. I just wanted to say that. Now, I don't know if that's all going to happen, but I do believe they're going to win Game 6. All right, Western Conference. The Nuggets sent LA home. I was hoping as an LA fan to get 2 games. They didn't. I knew they weren't going to beat the Nuggets because the Nuggets have more championship moxie. The Lakers, other than AD and LeBron, have mental midgets on their team. And the Nuggets took advantage of it. And the mental midget situation was at point guard. And Murray won 2 games hitting game-winning shots. The Nuggets gave the Lakers a giveaway game in Game 4 where they didn't care as much. They took care of business Game 5, but they didn't. They weren't super. They weren't like the super efficient Nuggets of last year. I think this year's going to be a struggle to try to win it. It won't be just easy peasy. Um, and I'm gonna bring up Anthony Edwards in a minute, but I'm gonna tell you something. The Nuggets did what they had to do. They won in 5. They get rest. Jamal Murray was dinged up. He's going to get some rest. But for as the Lakers are concerned, you got to if they're going to be a championship team. First of all, they probably got to resign LeBron. And got to say, listen, do you don't want Ham? We'll bring in Mark Jackson. You like Mark Jackson? Okay. I guess they'll have to draft Bronny in the second round. I don't know how to put him in the D League, have him play exhibition with his dad. That's not the biggest deal. The biggest deal is they have to hope that the Clippers don't make a long run in the playoffs. And they're 2-2 with Dallas. And you get number one priorities getting Paul George. Number one priorities because there's free agents in this draft, but there's nobody that has the clutch gene of Paul George. LA hasn't had a closer the last couple of years because LeBron doesn't shoot it as well from outside. He'll drive and close a game. But because if you take the drive away, you're hoping he makes that shot. And he missed it in Game 2. And Paul George is a closer. And I think what they have to do is LeBron has to defer because he's older, defer to Paul George as a main guy if they get him. This is fancy talk, but if you get him and then you get a bunch of guys like what the Knicks have, get a bunch of dogs as far as your role players, like a Portis Jr. I'm watching them now on the Bucks. You get them dogs that just love the spotlight in the playoffs that just got the stars back. You got to have that. Like the Nuggets have Porter Jr. and Gordon and Jackson and all those role players, Brown and all the role players that just come in and they know their role. Denver, everybody knows what their role is perfectly. It doesn't always work that way because the games in LA were close. But they know what they have to do when it matters, and they know how to make runs at the end of games, and they always come through. And you got Joker, you got the best player in the world, of course, but Murray and Joker are your famous great tandems, guard center tandems that a lot of the championship teams win with. So you are in the next round against the Timberwolves, and this is the worst possible matchup for Denver. I think Denver will, just because they have championship medal and it's kind of their time to make a run. I have them at 7, but the Timberwolves have a chance because of that bad man, Anthony Ant-Man Edwards. What a great player. They swept the Suns, who didn't have a point guard, and the Timberwolves have a point guard, Conley. Conley got everybody in to where they had to go. But boy, did I love Ant-Man. 40 points, 6 assists and 9 rebounds. Towns had 28, and Conley got Towns the ball, and Towns was able to hit. And he at times could be too aggressive in the playoffs, but he had the perfect pace of going inside, driving in, shooting threes, playing defense, rebounding, doing what he had to do, playing within himself, and he did, and I love that. But and I love this new Jaden Daniels. Oh my goodness, what a pickup that they had Jaden Daniels to go along with Conley and Alexander, who played good. My God, Naz Reid has played good, 6 man a year. I used to interview him when he was at Roselle Catholic High School in New Jersey. Very impressed. The Jersey guys, Carl Towns, Kyle Anderson, Naz Reid, doing what they have to do. But they're a team. They're a team. Not unlike LA, where you see Russell sitting on, munching on and something and not in the huddle. they're all in. Minnesota's all in, and the teams that love playing with each other are the teams that advance, and they're all in. When their coach Bruce Finch got hurt, they all surrounded him. They got love for him. They all, everybody, all for one and one for all. Even though Edwards is the star and he's a superstar, and I love the fact that the others are playing well, and they have the best defense in the tournament right now, and they're going to D up. The key for them is Carltown's got to make Joker play defense, and he's got to attack the rim because Gobert's just defensively, he'll score off of the pick and pop plays. But I'm gonna tell you something. I love what I see at Minnesota. I just think that somehow, some way, Denver gets into a 7 game, and the home court advantage is just going to mean everything in this series. Um, and that's going to be huge. If Minnesota could have somehow got the 2 seed, I might pick them because it's going to go 7. But I like the moxie of Minnesota in the defense, but scheme wise, Gordon's defense on Anthony Edwards is going to be huge because Edwards is a superstar. He's one of the best players in the league. And yeah, I like the comparisons with Kobe and Jordan. Not there yet, but I'm going to tell you something. He has that aggressive, he has the big hands, he knows how to go to the basket. He loves the moment. He plays defense. He blocks shots. He's everything you want in your superstar. He holds guys accountable. I just in not a nasty way, but in a good way. Hey, Carl, stop fouling. Gobert, stop fouling. We need you. Just like I like how he plays that way. But that's the 7 game series. And congratulations to the Orlando Magic for beating up a shorthanded Minnesota Timberwolves team. I love their defense is good as Minnesota's because they're long. They have the best defensive player in the league in Lou Dort. The moment didn't bother them. They took care of business in New Orleans, and I'm so impressed with how they played. I like them. I give them a chance, as young as they are. I give them a chance against the Clippers and Dallas because of their defense, and because they have another superstar, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but they have Jaden Williams, who's a budding star from Santa Clara, who's a great second wheel, and then they have some snipers from the outside, and then Chet Holmgren is growing before as skinny as he is. I always liked his skill wise, and he got a little hard. 14 rebounds, 5 assists. 14 points and 9 rebounds and 5 assists. The kid can play. And Shea Gilgeous-Alexander he's a modern day Iceman that can play defense. He really, 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 really has impressed me because he has a terrific mid range. He takes his time. He doesn't get bothered. He can shoot the 3. He plays good defense. He's long. They're long, but they're also physical too. As Jaden Williams and Lou Dort beat you up physically in a clean way. So they're gonna D up Luka and Kyrie and James Harden and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, whoever comes out of that playoffs. Now that is where we're headed. We're headed for one of the great all-time finishes. Dallas and the Clippers. The Clippers don't have a great home field advantage. They will next year. They'll have their own building because that's a Lakers building. So Dallas could win in LA, but the Clippers and the Dallas has a great home field advantage. But the Clippers win there. Clippers could win there. It's going to be whoever makes shots. Because you have the great Kyrie, the champion. If Kawhi Leonard's healthy, he's a champion. You have Paul George, who is no longer can't play good in the playoffs. Paul George, because Paul George was fantastic early in his Indiana days. Then he tapered off. some bad performances with the Thunder and then the Clippers, but this version of Paul George, I'm loving. I am loving how he played and how he played his last game. I just was super impressed. Um, and they needed it. And the play he made when Kyrie hit the shot and they took the lead, the play he made in that game when it looked like he kind of traveled, but he didn't. The kind of step back three he made to give him the lead for good was impressive. And that wasn't easy because they were up 30, I believe. The Mavericks come all the way back, take the lead, and I mean they were it was 105 100 with 2:15 left, and they're poised to go 3-1, put all pressure. But Paul George hits that step back three to give them 107 to 105, and they end up winning. And it was 11-6 run to end the game, and that's what superstars do. And he had some tough shots. And Harden played terrific. He made a lot of clutch shots. Hard to give you one or two good clutch efforts in a playoff series, and that's one of them. But because you have Leonard, because you have Terrence Mann playing good, and his defense on Luka was really important, and you have Powell, who's a money player who hits big time shots. All you need a lot of times is Harden to facilitate, which he's always going to do. But hitting shots, he doesn't always do. But when he hits shots, that's gravy, and that's dangerous. This is going 7. I don't know if Dallas wins game 5, Clippers win game 5. I say Clippers win 5, Dallas win 6, go 7. Fourth quarter, then it comes down to shot making. The Clippers are deeper. The Mavericks have one of the best money shooters in the game, and Kyrie Irving, champion. Loves that kind of game 7 moxie kind of closeout game. So I'm going to pick. Part of me says Clippers edge it out, even as good as Kyrie plays, and they run into because it's just a little deeper. And game 7 is not in Dallas. Is a little bit of a home field advantage for the Clippers, but they're not in Dallas, which is a big home field advantage for Dallas. I like the Clippers to squeak that out to play the Pelicans. I mean, the Pelicans, the not the Orlando Magic, the OKC Thunder. It's late at night doing this. OKC Thunder versus the Clippers, and then you have Minnesota versus the Denver Nuggets, and what a great series that's going to be. What a great series OKC is going to be. Uh-oh, the Bucks won this game down 3-1 without Dame and Giannis. This is a game the Pacers would have loved to win, close it out, don't have to see them no more. They get beat 115-92. The Bucks scrapped in game 4 and didn't win, but they were scrapping. And Doc Rivers liked the attitude. It permeated and it transitioned into game 5, and they just took it from the Pacers and they just wanted it more. And now for the game 6, and I'm hearing that Giannis could play and Dame could play. Oh boy. If Giannis and Dame play and you don't win game 6, it goes to game 7. The way the Bucks are playing, the way the role players, and Lopez was bad. And Lopez was good tonight. If you're going to get this effort, because Middleton's back to Middleton. I've liked Middleton this whole playoffs. And I love Ports and Middleton. They're dogs. But if you're going to get 18 from Beasley and Lopez is 12 and Contons hitting a 3 or 2, if you get Beasley with 18, to go along with what Dame and Giannis are doing, that's going to be a problem, and they will win Game 7. They will take 6 and 7. The Pacers better win Game 6 somehow. Maybe they get Giannis and Dame rusty, but if the Bucks could survive Game 6, that could be bad news for the Knicks or Sixers. They're if they ever, because I like how they're playing, and Doc's doing a good job. If they ever got out of this series, they would beat the Knicks for sure. Sixers would be interesting, but they got a lot of them and the Sixers are two veteran teams that want to see Boston in the next round. But I got a bad feeling about this Game 6 for Indiana. I think they blew it. The Knicks have a better chance at Game 7 than the Pacers would, because of course they're on the road. The Knicks would be at home, but you'd be in Milwaukee with Giannis and Dame. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but Pacers better take care of Game 6. That's all I'm telling you. And the Celtics are moving on, even though their series not over. It's over. No Butler is starting to show after the Heat had an unconscious Game 2. 102-88 game in Game 4. Got annihilated in Game 3. Got beat up in Game 4. Derek White is such a key because Tatum and Brown are always going to be Tatum and Brown. But you don't know what you get out of White, who's been solid, and he had 38 points. Because if Tatum has a bad game and Brown has a good game, sometimes they're in trouble. If Tatum has a bad game, Brown has a good game, and White has a good game, forget it, because Holiday's going to give you defense. I got to see Porzingis, because if they have to see Embiid or Giannis, they're going to need a healthy Porzingis. If they're not, it's not going to matter. But he hurt his calf in a non-contact injury. That's scary. I wonder what his status is going to be going forward. But Boston took care of business. They'll wax Miami in Game 5, and they'll prepare for the winner of the Cleveland Thunder series. I'm mixing the Thunder with the Magic. The Cleveland Magic series. I like Cleveland. They survived. It was a great Game 5. I love intense Game 5s. They're usually going to decide who wins the series. And this was intense. The Knicks was intense. The Nuggets was an intense Game 5. The LA played their hearts out, but they had too many mental midgets to overcome the Nuggets. But the Cavaliers and the Magic and Banchero is arrived. There's some stars between Gilgeous-Alexander, Edwards, and now Banchero is right under them. And he's really, really good. He had 39. He was fantastic. Wagner is good. Both Wagners were solid. But I'm going to tell you what was the key. Because Magic came back on Cleveland. And what the key was, this was the biggest, I believe it was the biggest play of the game, is when Banchero took a long 3 late in the game, and he didn't have to. He took a long 3, and then he did a missed turnaround in the lane. And I think that gave Cleveland life, because Mobley got 2 layups off drives. Cleveland was smarter, and then they took the lead on Mitchell's free throw. And then Mobley got another layup from Garland, which was good. And they were up 4, and they were able to hold on. But and this is what playoff basketball is about. Magic is young. So they made some young plays at the end. They have a lead. Banchero doesn't set his defender up to try to drive the basket. He takes a long, crazy 3 with time on the shot clock, misses. And then the next time he comes down, takes a tough turnaround jumper. And there was no originality. And this would happen to the Knicks. When they went Brunson, the Sixers are, okay, we're going to start to veer toward Brunson. And now the other guys are kind of isolated, and when they get the ball, they're not in rhythm, and they're probably going to miss that shot. And I think that's what happened to Orlando where the others didn't touch it. Where Cleveland, Mitchell touched the ball, but they let Garland operate too. Mobley was able to score, so they had variety to go along with what Mitchell does under pressure. I think the Magic take game 6, very close, and then Cleveland survives game 7 to go on to Boston. Now, Cleveland's only chance, because they played Boston tough this year, is for Donovan Mitchell to have 4 all-time great games. If not, they got no chance. Mitchell has to be so good that he's got to be above his regular season average. He's got to be Jordan, D-Wade, every two guard you can, Kobe, every two guard you could think that went extra. He would have to be extra if they get out of the series. But he would have to be extra to beat Boston, because Boston's got White and they got Brown and they got Tatum playing well. And I don't know about the stats of Porzingis, but Jared Allen's got to come back and play. So Porzingis and Allen have to come back in that next series.